The other day I saw a guy on TV making a garlic and cheese bread. Oops. And on his griddle. And it looked pretty good. So I went to the shop and I thought I'd buy the garlic and cheese bread, but unfortunately I've got cheese and onion bread. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be okay. I'm going to try and prepare it. First I've got to do a light up. I don't have the griddle. I'm going to light up the braai, and I've got one of those, I'll show it to you just now, one of those things that you put over the top, and I'm going to try and make something similar to his, because man, it looked good. Okay, let's light up the fire. No griddle, no problem. Add with a good old blitz. I can never get the packets open properly with this stuff. I've always got to cut it. Baby, you can light my fire. One of man's greatest inventions, flame. Okay, fire is started. Put this back on. Get this. Wipe some of the pepper. Okay, so now that the fire is burning, we're going to go and do the rest of the stuff. Okay, so this is the stuff that I was talking about that I'm going to put on top of the braai, the barbecue. You buy it as a sheet. Comes, sometimes in a little roll-up tube. You lay it on top of your barbecue, your braai. Put oil on. You can put meats, whatever it is that you want to braai. But in my case, I'm going to make these toasted sandwiches, and I'm going to use this in, instead of the griddle. Now, so we have the onion cheese bread. Okay, we're going to cut it up. I'm going to dice some onions. Okay. We have got cheese. We're going to grate some cheese, mayonnaise. He doesn't use butter, he uses mayonnaise. And of course, there's your pastrami, thinly sliced pastrami. And hopefully it turns out something like what he had. I'm looking forward to doing it and see what it tastes like. Let's chop up the onion. I noticed he had it cut up into lots of small little squares. Not quite sure if I'll be that good. You can see I'm not the chef in the house. My wife is the best cook around. And my son, this incidentally, is his cap, Dean Risco. Okay, he's taught himself how to be a chef down in LA. And of course with lockdown, that obviously has shut down the places where he is at. And he's just waiting for things to get back to normal. Okay, so I've done the onion. Not such nice little squares like he had, but good enough to go on the braai, the barbecue. Let's get started on the cheese. And I mentioned Dean Risco, my son down in LA. You should look him up on YouTube, Facebook, etc. Dean Risco, R-I-S-K-O. He's a singer-songwriter, in addition to being a pretty good cook, chef. He's got his own channel called Dish Me Up Dean, and he does some beautiful looking meals. Tell you want to check that little guy out. Little guy. Well, he's my younger son, I suppose. He is little. Okay, let's get this cheese going. I actually think I brought the wrong cheese. Very pop. Gouda cheese. I should have got cheddar cheese, I think. There might be some in the fridge. I'll just go and check too. Let's just see if I can make this work. No, that's not working. Let me go get some cheddar cheese. I told you I wasn't the cook in the family. So I got hold of some cheddar. It happens to be white cheddar. It's not going to look quite as nice on the food, but let's see if it works. Wow. Come on, cheese. Well, kind of looks like yeah. I managed to get a nice little pile of cheese to go with our onions. Okay, we're getting there. Now, let's take a look. First of all, let's slice the bread. Well, the other guy used a loaf of bread, which is this high. I couldn't find any of that, so I'm just gonna see what I can do with these. If I can make some samis out of this. He mentioned he likes to use a serrated knife. He says it's much easier to cut through, and he was not very shy with the thickness of his sandwiches, so I'll do the same. Let's take 2 out of there. Quite interesting, this one, the way it's cut like that. And I'll make, let's cut this in 2. This is going to be what we used to call a doorstopper. Okay, so now we're ready. What we're going to use then afterwards is the pastrami. You can see it's nice and thin, and it's quite interesting what he does with the pastrami afterwards on the fire. I'll show you in a minute. Let me just cover this up, and we're going to get ready to put some mayo on here. Then we're going to put it across onto the fire. To be quite honest, I don't think I've ever made a toasted salami using mayo instead of butter. Let's just stir it up. Got it out of the fridge. Okay. He was quite adamant about using mayo. He said it added, well, he kind of said words to the effect that it takes it to the next level. So let's have a look what the result is going to be once we put this onto the fire. I have to admit that using this thing to make something like this, I did use it the other day for boerewors and chops. It does work nicely, it doesn't mess the grill, but at the same time I like doing it on the open flames. This is not, but we'll have a look and see. Hopefully it's going to work out well. Obviously I can't put the sandwiches on there because they're going to get stuck and fall through whatever. So this is my substitute to his griddle. So whatever this is called, let's try and make a toasted onion and cheese pastrami and onion sandwich. There you go. Okay, fire's looking good. He mentioned having a cooler place and a warmer place. I've kept the coals off onto this side. Oh, this is hot. And when we start finishing, we'll move our stuff across. Let's put this on in the meantime. He says he puts a bit of oil on. Okay, for the sandwich. I don't know if that's a bit or a lot. Okay, let's have a look. Let's put our 2 big door stoppers there. And the little ones over here. I can hear it sizzling already. Gonna do the onions. That sound that the onions made when they got onto the hot fat. It always reminds me of that sound when you open a bottle of Coke or a can of Coke. And I remember a lady at the Mohali municipality, my old Krugersdorp, and we were talking once about how Coke grabs you, and she was saying it's all about that. And I thought, how do you translate that into an advertisement for Coca-Cola? It's that. She was dead right. Okay, so we've got this going nicely. Let's see. Starting to look good. Hey. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Maybe this is going to work. Looking nice. He did mention he takes a bit of water every now and then just to keep it a little bit wet if it starts looking like it's getting dry. They've got to get nice and brown. Hey. Let's check the bread. Ooh, I've left it on a bit long. That one. That one's looking good. And it's almost, I need more oil. Okay, get some more oil. What we're going to do is going to turn the sandwiches, and we're going to put mayonnaise on this side. This one, a bit of charcoal. That's because the oil, the ground slopes and the oil's been running down. That's why you need, if you're doing it inside, you need to make sure it's on a nice level surface. As I said, he says this is the pièce de résistance. Oh, motorbike in the background. And then we flip them over. Yeah. Try and get some oil onto all of these. Okay, so I think that bread is looking good. Still some mayo there. Put it down to the cool side. This one can stay a little bit longer. And the onions a little bit. Just see the onions. Yep, they're coming on nicely. Now remember, let's move that one out the way. I said he did something quite interesting with the salami, with the pastrami. He actually cuts it up into lots of little pieces. He says he does this because it just makes it easier to eat, makes it look better. You don't have a big piece of pastrami hanging at the end of a sandwich. I remember in Utah, when we lived there for a while, they used to make the most delicious pastrami hamburger. Well, they called it a hamburger or something. But, yeah, it was fantastic. See, he's got a steel plate, and he goes, quack, 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 quack. I don't want to go, quack, 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 quack. onto this thing in case I tear it. But I think we're getting there. And he says, chuck a little bit more oil. Also a bit of oil down there. Needs to be cooking. Yeah, those onions looking good. Cut this up just a little bit more. So that's looking good. He takes some cheese and he sprinkles the cheese over there to also hopefully start melting. He did say that if you've got a cooker that you close, you can put it on to make this melt more. I might just try that. Let's just see how we're getting on here. Yeah, that cheese is melting already. This is looking good. I think we're ready. Let's take our first door stopper. Wait, that's hot. And we just split this up. Woohoo! It's messy, baby. Some onion. And then he says, add a bit more cheese. Why not? He says, I love cheese. Okay, I'm going to use the thinner one. Move this across to the table. And the next one. Pity about that burnt side, but yeah, I wasn't able to quite control it. And onion, senor onion. And you can see I'm not using the two thick door stoppers. I'm taking a thick one and a thin one, separating them. Put this on top. Let's get it across that side. Oh man, I don't know about you. If that is not mouth-watering, then I don't know what is.